Good morning and welcome to News Lounge. I'm Tom Hartley.
And I'm Maritza Munoz. Good morning.
How are you doing this morning, Maritza?
I'm good. How are you, Tom?
Very well. This is a fantastic day. It's absolute scorcher outside though, so I'll be looking forward to hitting the sun after this.
It is, and it's also the end of another busy week, so big weekend ahead as well.
Absolutely. Over here today we've got Georgie covering our sports and weather. How are you doing this morning, George?
Good, thanks guys.
That's good. What do you got in store for us?
The Gold Coast Titans are staying in the NRL, and boxing legend Mike Tyson took on a not-so-fierce foe in Brisbane yesterday, so that's coming up later.
That sounds great, Georgie. And later on in the show, we're very excited to be talking to acclaimed Brisbane author Venero Armano about his new novel.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic to see some local talent. One of UQ's lecturers and tutors as well, so some of you guys might notice him from there. But for now, we're going to head over to Catherine for the news.
Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Very well, thanks, Catherine.
Yeah, very well, thanks, guys. All right, making news today on Friday, the 16th of November, 2012. In breaking news, Brisbane's Supreme Court building has been evacuated after a bomb threat. It's not known if the threat was targeted at a particular person. Police are assessing the danger. One of Australia's golden girls of the pool, Liesl Jones, is expected to announce her retirement at a press conference in Brisbane this morning. The Queen of Breaststroke competed in her 4th Olympic Games earlier this year, making her Australia's most experienced Olympic swimmer. Jones won individual gold medals at both the Beijing and Athens Olympics, but placed 5th in the 100-metre breaststroke in London. Jones collected her 9th gold medal after gaining silver in the 4x100-metre medley relay. This put her equal to Ian Thorpe with the most Olympic medals won by an Australian. Jones began her Olympic career as a 14-year-old, and now at the age of 27, it seems her illustrious career has come to an end. Investigations continue into the death of an 85-year-old Macleay Island grandmother, Lislot Watson. Police confirmed yesterday Mrs. Watson was murdered, saying she died in a brutal and unnatural way.
This makes us renew our plea. This is an 85-year-old lady in her own home. We're very keen to have some assistance from the public. Anyone that's seen anything or knows anything about what's happened here, come forward, no matter how small it is, to give us every assistance that we need to solve this crime.
The whistleblower who prompted the untimely end of Bruce Flagg's trouble-prone cabinet career this week says the former minister turned to lawyers in a desperate bid to silence him. The Courier Mail revealed a threatening legal letter from Mr Flagg's lawyers was hand-delivered to the home of the sacked media advisor Graham Hallett on Monday morning. The lawyer's letter came just hours after the long-term Liberal advisor revealed plans to go public the following morning with allegations Dr Flagg wasn't a fit and proper person to hold office. Our city's first breast milk bank opens at the Royal Brisbane and Women's Hospital today. Neonatal ICU Deputy Director Peter Krutz says the bank will save lives, particularly those of premature babies. They're hoping for 300 litres of donations in the first year. If you wish to donate, call the number on the screen now for more information, 3647 3988. The dispute over Western Corridor TAFE closures continues as the state government contemplates whether to axe 38 campuses throughout Queensland. Paul Sutcliffe, Bremer Institute of TAFE Director, has shown support in reducing unused facilities. He says unused campuses are too costly to maintain and the government should be supporting campuses with high demand. But member for Blair Shane Newman says has launched a petition to prevent future closures, concerned it would spur a skills shortage. A Queensland police officer has been charged with stealing cash during a raid in June this year. Shane Sterling was accused of taking $1,000 but remains adamant he only took $300 and repaid the amount.
This incident was identified by the QPS and an internal investigation into the conduct of the officer led to charges being laid.
Police were seeking a jail sentence, but a judge in Brisbane's Magistrate Court ruled 200 hours of community service instead. A major operation to target the possession and supply of synthetic drugs has been closed successfully. Brisbane Police executed search warrants on 17 retail stores across southeast Queensland, as well as online distributors. A 43-year-old man and 34-year-old woman were charged with trafficking and producing dangerous drugs and are expected to appear in court later this year. Police also seized 4.2 kilos of synthetic drugs and property to the value of $120,000.
It's a psychotic type substance, and people suffer from their body overheating, psychotic events, very irrational behaviour, often leading to violent incidents where they cause significant destruction and often injure themselves as well.
New laws giving hotel operators the right to refuse room to sex workers has come under fire. One Brisbane sex worker lashed out at the laws, saying that the changes will force workers to invite clients into their own home, exposing them to greater risk. A Brisbane District Court jury has heard how a young man was tortured and forced to eat a live lizard at Bribie Island last year. Mark Adrian Mitchell pleaded not guilty to torture and assault causing grievous bodily harm after he allegedly ordered a man to eat a gecko or risk getting bashed. The prosecution said the man vomited after biting into the animal but continued to eat following threats from Mitchell. A company's been fined $60,000 after one of its ships spilt oil in the Brisbane River in January. The ship was refuelling at Hamilton when the oil spill from a valve that wasn't closed properly. In less than 5 minutes, 4.5 tonnes of oil leaked into the waterways. The ship's owners, Global Hong Kong, pleaded guilty to the charge of disposing oil in coastal waterways, but no conviction was recorded. The company was already negotiating clean-up costs of about $384,000. And it seems Queenslanders fear the pain of the dentist bill more than the drill. In a recent survey of 60,000 participants, 55% said they avoided trips to the dentist due to the high fees, with 60% of those surveyed revealing they had no plans to visit the dentist in the next 12 months. That's all in the news for now, but I'll be back later in the program with a quick recap of today's main stories and some more news. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Catherine. Let's find out what's happening in the weather. Georgie, what's Mother Nature got in store for us this weekend?
Well, it's not getting cooler anytime soon, even with all the rain we're expecting over the next few days. Brisbane's in for a shower or two with a chance of a thunderstorm late this afternoon or evening. We've got a hot day ahead of us with moderate to fresh gusty northwest to northeasterly winds. The fire danger will continue to be high with tops of 33 in the city and 30 Bayside. And it looks like it'll be a hot, muggy weekend with rainy periods and possible thunder on Saturday with 31 degrees. Look forward to sleeping in with the rain on Sunday and a possible late storm and relatively mild top of 26. The Gold Coast can also expect late showers and thunderstorms after a balmy top of 29. The Sunshine Coast will be mostly fine with a steamy max of 32. Ipswich will be looking at a very high fire danger with temperatures expected to soar up to 37 degrees before a late afternoon storm. And back to you guys.
Thanks, Georgie.
Thanks. That's all we've got time for now. Join us after the break when we're with our author, Venero Armano. Welcome back to News Lounge. Now, lucky for us, we're joined by a local author, Venero Armano. He's internationally acclaimed for his books Volcano, Beautiful Friend, Candle Life, and The Dirty Beat.
That's right, Tom. And now he adds a new book to his illustrious accomplishments, and that book is called Black Mountain. Without further ado, we welcome you, Venero Armano. Thank you for having me.
Hi, how are you?
For being here.
Very well, thanks. How are you doing this morning, Ven?
Good, very
That's
good.
good here. So firstly, as a writer, obviously you asked this question a million times. How did you get started in writing?
I was always a great reader. You know, when I was a little kid, I used to read everything: comic books, little magazines. Then, you know, started with young adult novels, James Bond novels, adventure novels. And it's like anything, when you love something, eventually you start thinking, I want to do that too. So I started writing actually quite young. I tried to write my first novel when I was in first year university, when I was doing law.
Can you tell us about that one?
Well, yes, I can. It contributed to me failing law and not starting my career very quickly because it was a vampire novel set at the University of Queensland, which had a plot of a disenfranchised vampire in Brisbane killing law students.
Sounds like it could have been a funny one.
Look, at the time it was meant perfectly seriously. So the thing is, I think I should revisit it and try and think of it as a comedy, which is probably what it was in the first place.
Yeah, definitely.
So who are some of your favourite writers and what sort of novels did you read growing up?
Yeah, well, the ones I mentioned, I mean, it sounds really silly, but I really started with adventure novels, Alistair MacLean, Ian Fleming. I love the James Bond books. I loved all those adventure type things. And then as I got older, I kind of moved into F. Scott Fitzgerald, Ernest Hemingway, and now I just read as widely as I can. I'm really lucky because I review for the Weekend Australian, so I kind of get a whole range of world literature.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. So let's move on to your new novel, Black Mountain. You've actually got a copy of it there to show the people at home. Not to spoil anything to our viewers, but what can you tell us about the book without exploiting the premise
ruining
of the story?
it, yeah.
Look, it starts off with a very simple premise. There was something that I researched a long time ago, which I didn't really know about, which was that child slavery was actually very big in Sicily, the country where my parents came from. So this idea of child slavery and the sulphur fields in Sicily was something that I'd never known about and which my family had never spoken about. So I did a lot of research into what these sulphur fields actually did and what the lives of these very small boys was like. And the more research I did, the more interested I became in the idea of what would life be like in a place like that, and how would you try to get out of it? What would you do to actually try and escape? So with my book, it starts off with this premise that we have a small boy who doesn't know where he comes from. All he knows is that he works in the sulphur fields. The main story is him getting out and trying to create his own life, but the other story is discovering who he is and how he actually got there, and that's the real twist of the book.
So it took you about 3 years to write, is that
Yes,
correct?
it did, yeah.
And how much personal research would you have to have put into that book?
Well, I had to do the research in Sicily to get that part right because information about the sulphur fields really doesn't exist. There's not a lot of it around, so you actually have to go there and investigate them to see what it's like. I spoke to some of the men who are now still alive, the ones who survived, but they're a very small percentage. I spoke to some of the elderly gentlemen. But the book isn't only set in Sicily. It starts in Sicily and then it moves to France in the 1920s and the 1930s. So I got to research that beautiful Belle Epoque of Paris and the high-class courtesans. And we then moved from Paris to Australia, and that's the Australian connection as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so you've obviously visited Sicily a few times then?
Yeah, because I've got the family connection. My parents, I was born in Australia, but my parents decided to take my sister and I back to Sicily when we were very young in 1969. So I was 9, turning 10 at the time, and I went from Brisbane back to this very, very small, poverty-stricken town in Sicily, and my dad made us stay there for 6 months just to see what life was like. The life of privilege in Brisbane and, kind of not such a great life back there.
Of course.
So the story is about a small boy called Sete, I do believe.
Sete.
Was he inspired, or were any of the characters in the novel inspired by real-life people?
Yeah. If I could just explain, Sete means the number 7. So the boy, that's his number. And so he always wonders, who were the first 6 and are there any after me? 7, 8, 9, 10. His character isn't based on anyone in particular, but I did take certain things from some of these older guys that I spoke to and some of the research I did, particularly where men spoke about the idea that when they were sent there so young that they felt like they were born out of the air, like they had no concept of a family or a town or a place where they came from. All they knew was that they worked in these sulphur mines. And so that was really the main thing that I wanted to give my little boy Sete, this idea that it's as if he's born out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And well, speaking of, well, not really speaking of anything actually, but on another, you said that you are a lecturer and a tutor at UQ for creative writing?
Yes.
That's correct, yep. So what sort of advice do you give your current students if they wish to become a creative writer?
To be writers. There's a couple. One is nothing beats getting experience. I mean, you know, we can all, it's always nice to think that you just go into a room and start writing, but you've really got to have material. You've got to have stuff to write about. So there's nothing wrong with younger writers going out in the world, doing all the adventures, going travelling, you know, living. You know, you need stuff to understand. But the other thing is that anyone who aspires to being a writer, it's like if you wanted to be a guitarist in a rock band. You know, if a kid wanted to be a guitarist in a rock band but never touched his guitar, you'd think he wasn't very serious.
Yeah.
So with writing, it's the same thing. If you want to write, you have to write. You have to write every day. You have to set yourself a goal.
Practice makes perfect.
You have to be doing it.
Yeah.
So with the emergence of ebooks and online books, how do you enjoy such success in the printing industry still?
Well, it's almost as if there are two worlds that are starting to blend, and I think because I've got an established reputation. I mean, Black Mountain is my 10th book, so there's people that know my books, and if they like them, continue to buy them. But I'd say that with newer writers, you know, who are just starting out, they probably find that most of their sales are moving towards ebooks and less so with print copies. All my books are available as ebooks, but still the print, for me at least, the print books are what people tend to buy. Yeah. But, you know, who knows how long that's going to stay like that for.
That's it. And just quickly, what sort of reaction have you had so far since the book's release at the middle of the year?
Look, it went to #1 at one stage. I think for 3 minutes it was at #1, and at various times it's been beneath 50 Shades of Grey. Sometimes it's been above 50 Shades of Grey, and that's the way we measure it these days, is where your book is in relation to that trilogy.
And what do you think of 50 Shades of Grey?
I wish I'd written them.
Basically. Yeah.
Perfect. You can purchase Black Mountain at the UQ Press's website. The link is on the screen, as well as in bookstores. Thank you so much for joining us, Venero.
Thank you.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Venny. And if you wish to catch up with Venny at all, he's at UQ. So very busy man this time of the year. So we'll, he's been under wraps, that's marking away and stuff like that.
We'll be back soon with some sport and news headlines. Don't go away.
See ya. And welcome back to News Lounge. If you just joined us, we had Venero Armano, who was a critically acclaimed author.
Brisbane author, in fact, very local.
Local boy, yep. Speaking of books, Maritza, a bit of a bookworm, I hear.
I am. I love reading. I'm definitely going to get my hands on a copy of Black Mountain, which was his book, and read that. What about you, Tom?
I'm more of a movies man myself. I don't have too much time.
You're going to wait till it's transformed into a movie and then go see that.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be a great one. Hopefully they don't ruin it like some of the Harry Potters.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't know. It's a fantastic movie.
Now it's time to see what Georgie has in store for us in the sport. What's happening, Georgie?
Quite a bit. I'll get to it. The Gold Coast Titans' 7-year NRL licence has been renewed, showing the Australian Rugby League Commission still remains confident in the struggling side. The Goldie boys were plunged into financial crisis after former Chief Executive Michael Searle threatened the club's future. The club was cleared for their new licence after meeting a series of strict financial guarantees due to commence for the 2013 season. Michael Conlon, former Fitzroy legend and current AFL Queensland Chief Executive, believes Ipswich will become future hosts to AFL games. Conlon feels the code's been neglected in Queensland's fastest growing city for too long, but AFL have set their sights on making Ipswich the #1 priority for future expansion into Queensland. Realising the city's potential, the AFL will be working closely with local clubs to strengthen the code at grassroots levels. Seasoned basketball player Kristen Veal, captain of the Logan Thunder basketball team, will become the 11th member of the coveted 300 Games Club when she puts on her number 32 jersey tonight. The Thunder basketball team will face Bulleen at Logan Metro Indoor Sports Stadium at 7:30 p.m, and Veal says tonight's game's business as usual as they hope to break the team's 3-game losing streak. In football news, the Australian Power Chair Championships kicked off yesterday in Sydney's Kevin Betts Stadium. The growing sport combines the skill of football with the speed and power of wheelchairs. 4 state teams from around the country will face off over the coming days for the chance to represent Australia at the Asia Pacific Oceania Cup in 2013. Promising young race walkers Clara Smith and Michaela Woodward will compete in the Australian All Schools Championships in Hobart later this month. The Bridgetine College students train under two-time Olympian Dave Smith. 14-year-old Clara will compete in the 5-kilometre walk, while Michaela will race in the 13 years 3-kilometre. The national championships run from the 30th of November to the 2nd of December. 2 Brisbane teenagers will play in the Indigenous Women's All-Stars squad, who are set to open for the Rugby League All-Stars game at Suncorp Stadium on February 9. Candy Kennedy, daughter of William Bubba Kennedy, as well as Belmont's Nakia Davis Welsh and Springfield's Teresa Anderson, were named in the 20-person squad, selected after a trial match at the Gold Coast last weekend. Tickets are available from Ticketek. And a koala in Brisbane CBD had a lucky escape yesterday when former world heavyweight champion Mike Tyson refused to cuddle it. Tyson feared the scary marsupial would go bad and attack him. The ex-sportsman appeared for a photo opportunity to kick off his Mike Tyson's Day of the Champions tour. His first appearance will be at the Brisbane Convention and Exhibition Centre tonight. And that's all we have for in sport today. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Georgie. What do you think about that, Tom, with the koala and Mike Tyson?
Bit of a... I just don't think he should probably get the tattoos removed. He's just lost all toughness as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, well,
that was
it's
awkward.
Mike Tyson, you know, it's...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I thought he
Mike
was supposed to be a
Tyson.
big tough bloke.
I
but
know, he takes on boxing champions and yet he doesn't want to cuddle a koala.
I know.
Koala,
That's
poor
odd.
thing.
Let's go to Catherine for a recap of the news headlines. What's happening, Catherine?
Thanks, Maritza. In international news today, Israeli Defence Minister Ehud Barak says Palestinian militants would be made to pay for the price for firing rockets towards Tel Aviv. He's enlisted 30,000 reserve troops to prepare for any development following the attack that killed 3 Israelis. Gaza medics are reporting 19 Palestinians have been killed in 2 days of air raids. A new study from the University of Oxford and the University of Bristol has found that just 1 or 2 glasses of wine a week during pregnancy can damage an unborn child's intelligence. Previous research said large amounts of alcohol were damaging to a child's development, but the new research concludes even small amounts can have a detrimental effect. Although the research says women can have an occasional glass during pregnancy without harming their baby, researchers say it's best not to drink at all. And today in New Zealand's Christchurch, Victoria Square will reopen for the first time since the massive quake in 2011. The 6.3 magnitude quake struck west of Lilleyton on February 22nd, killing 185 people and causing widespread destruction. But today, the restored square will once open again to the public, and the city will also play host to royal couple Prince Charles and Camilla today. The pair will appear in the city on the final stop of their Diamond Jubilee visit. That's all from me with the news today. Back to you guys.
Thanks for that, Catherine.
No problem.
Now on a serious note, to follow up on the news, we're going to talk a little bit about prostate cancer. Obviously, the reason, well, it might not be that obvious, but I am growing this moustache for Movember. As patchy as it is for a good cause, so I'm sticking to it. I mean, the facts of this. Tragically, one man in every 3 hours will lose his battle with prostate cancer, which is just an absolutely phenomenal. It kills more people than more men than breast cancer does annually, which is an absolute. It's just an astounding fact.
Around 20,000 new cases are diagnosed in Australia every year, I do believe. And that's a pretty astounding number.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. But obviously the people who are organising Movember are trying to make a lighter, make it a bit lighter, and they're making a big difference. I'm trying to contribute as well, so there will be ways you can contribute. You can support me and sponsor me. We'll put that up on the News Lounge Facebook after the show. But I believe that we do have some photos of the girls and some of the other news reporters with moustaches. There we go. Look at that. Doesn't Miles look lovely? It's like a little Ron Burgundy up the top there.
Because us girls couldn't really support Movember in growing our own moustaches.
Oh, Catherine's getting Getting it on.
We decided to get
Getting a
fake
bit of
ones.
a Mexican one there as well.
It's very Mexican.
very
Georgie,
serious.
that really suits you. Is that fake? is that you sure?
I just had a wax before I came on.
Oh, good. Good
Caught
timing.
me.
Speaking of waxing, I did say that if I did raise $100, I would wax my moustache on the last episode of the
And we
the
have
month.
raised that target. So
I know.
on the very last episode of News Lounge, tune in and you will see a very painful Tom.
I've spoken to some beauty therapists, and they have said that I'm in for a bit of a wild ride, and I'm not looking forward to it that much, but it's for an excellent cause. So I think for that we should bump it up a little bit. So let's see if we can crack 200. At least, by the end of the month, it's 2 weeks.
200. Next week on the show as well, we'll be bringing you some action from schoolies on the Gold Coast. Our News Lounge presenters, Holly Fallon and Connor Tobin, are heading down there this weekend, Tom, I do believe, in an attempt to relive their lost youth, and we'll see how that goes on Monday.
I'm sure it'll be an absolutely fantastic one. I know that the traffic at the moment heading down to Goldie is absolute terror. So if you are on the roads today, take care.
And stay safe. We'll see you again on Monday. Have a great weekend.